When I do that, I see little windows appear around their heads.
Whether it's paranormal or not, it's super weird. When I was little, I told my mother that there was a cloud of mist that would fly into my room through the walls, fly over my head and leave the room again every night I went to bed. And I was super scared of that. I called this cloud Patch. At some point, my mother sat with me every night until I would fall asleep. And eventually I told her Patch didn't come into my room anymore, so it was all good, but it's still a weird story. When I was born, the doctor who helped deliver me looked at me and said, "This child has old eyes." So, you know, weird stuff happened from the day I was born. When I was 13 years old, me, my mother, and two of my friends went to this science park kind of thing. There was an energy scanner that would scan the energy of an organism. Basically, you put your hand on there and you see your energy level. Every species had a certain range in which their energy level can fall. For humans, this was between 32,000 and 34,000. But when I used that scanner, it measured 36,000, which means that I was 2,000 energy points above human. Of course, we all thought that was just a mistake. So I used it a couple of times more, but every time I did, it was above 36,000. So we thought it was broken. But when my friends tried it, it was actually at human level. But then my mother tried it, and she also had a score that was higher than human. And more visitors tried the scanner, and everyone was actually within human ranges. Except for me and my mother all the time. And then this guy who worked there came up to us. He basically took a look at the scanner and said that he actually had no idea why we scored above human energy levels. He told us that had never happened before and the scanner wasn't broken. I felt so excited! For 2 years long, at exactly 10 p.m., the smell of a sewer could be smelled in our house, but only at this one super specific spot at the couch. The thing is, there weren't any problems with the sewage, and it would always be at that exact spot at exactly 10 p.m. And you know, it could always be something different, but it's still a strange story. When I was in preschool, I would often go up to children and put my hand on their head like this. Everyone started to get super annoyed by that, obviously, and when my mother asked me why I did that, I said,
When I do that, I see little windows appear around their heads.
Why was I such a horror movie kid? And what was that movement? When my mom was little, there was a time she was suddenly super afraid of going into their kitchen at night. Every night she had to go to the bathroom, but she was too afraid to go into the kitchen, which was right next to the bathroom. That's kind of crazy construction now that I think of it. But anyway, she had the feeling that if she would go into the kitchen, there would be something that would try to get her. You know, that's obviously not a weird thought for a kid to have because kids are often scared in the dark or whatever. And at some point, her fears just stopped. But she never talked about this to anyone. But over 30 years later, she talked to her sister, my aunt, about it. And she had the exact same fears at the exact same period of time. About the exact same thing. Whoa. I always had a really good bond with my great-grandmother, and after she passed away, I was suddenly visited by moths. Again, one of those words Dutch people don't like pronouncing. Pretty much every day, all the time. Pretty much every day I would come home with moths riding on my shoulders and my back, without me noticing, obviously. Sometimes I would go into my room and there would be like 5 moths flying around. But basically, anywhere I went, there were moths. And now, up to this day, every time I have a big thing, no matter what it is, right before that thing happens, there's a moth on the wall somewhere. And you know, it could also be this big coincidence. I can never prove anything I'm telling you is actually paranormal or out of the ordinary, but it does make me feel good. Thank you so much for watching this new story video. And I do want to point out, I am not trying to convince you that paranormal stuff is real or anything like that. I am just telling a story of things that happened from our perspective. And even if you don't believe in paranormal stuff, those were still strange things, right? So please let me know down below in the comments. Have some of these kind of strange things ever happened to you, and what were they? If you want to share that is, because I would love to read that. And if you're new here, I would love to have you subscribe to this channel. I post stories like this or vlogs, skits, or basically something to get to know each other a little bit better on Saturday, and on Wednesday I post comedy sketches or cinematics or combination between the two. All of that to let people know that it's awesome and okay to be yourself and to be unique, and you shouldn't let anyone change who you are because you are perfectly what you are. But above all, I really hope you like this video, and like I always say, just be unique, you're awesome the way you are.